at Collector's Maze. This is a little bit different of a setup, but here I am with host Sung Pak and Daniel Pacina. How are you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Good, no complaints over here.
Absolutely. So I'll let you guys do a quick introduction. Say your names, what you've done that we might have seen, and we'll go from there. So we'll start with host Sung.
Host Sung Pak, and well, the character Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 for the Mortal Kombat fans. You don't see me, but I played the turtle character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and 3, Raphael, and various films, playing lead guy opposite Jackie Chan in Drunken Master that's Legend Drunken Master, to stunts and Transformers. Me and Daniel was in a film called Book of Swords together, and just various projects doing stunts and acting.
Awesome.
Yeah. Daniel Pacina, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Smoke, Noob Saibot in a nutshell.
Absolutely. So the first thing I gotta ask, the martial arts background. We'll start with Ho-Sung. Kind of just tell us how many years you've been practicing and any accolades you may have accumulated along the way.
Martial arts, actually, that's how everything got started, is through our martial arts, actually, for me and Dan. Dan and I started martial arts, gosh, when we were teenagers. So we practiced together, which is, amazing in Chicago. Then we started competing in tournaments. And I was fortunate enough to have a really good team around me, which I think is very important. With Danny, my brother, Daniel's brother Carlos, Rich Division, who plays Kano, and Tony, who plays Kung Lao. So we used to all practice together a long, long time when we were kids, and we competed. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of that team, and they really propelled me and inspired me to do the best I can. And I was fortunate enough to win like the Black Belt Hall of Fame, or to get into the Black Belt Hall of Fame, win numerous tournaments. And I was rated #1 in forms, in martial arts forms, in sport karate forms, for three years, which is how I got my start in the turtle films, because Pat Johnson, who saw me at one of the tournaments, asked me if I would be one of the turtles. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So that's how it all got started, is because of the martial arts and martial arts tournaments. And I have Daniel and the rest of the crew to thank to inspire me to be the best that I could be in martial arts.
Awesome. So are you still practicing now?
Oh, yeah. Still practice. What's harder as we age in life is you can't jump as high, as I figured out.
Sure.
And, you always wonder when you're a kid or when you're younger, oh, you should be able to jump. What's the big deal? Just jumping, right? You don't think of it as a big deal, but it becomes a big deal. And the other thing is, the big difference is, I think when you're younger, you can go on probably, let's say, 1 to 2 minutes of really high intense spurts, right? As you get older, that thing cuts down to 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and so on. So I think it's not so much the speed, like for 5 seconds, that I think you could control pretty well. It's the speed that if you try to do for a full minute, that you can't do as well as you age in life than as you are if you're younger. So those are probably the two main things that I would say. Working out is still great. Everything's awesome, except can't jump as high and can't go as fast for as long as you would like.
I understand that.
So to give you a little insight, we would be practicing in 2 or 3 hour spurts, like 3 times a day. So it wasn't just like, we're going to just work out for 1 hour. No, we're talking 7 days a week practicing that intensely. And because of the competitive spirit, like we would try to push each other and excel, at what we're doing. And, when you compete, it's really different than just doing martial art as a hobby, or even just, because you are really going like sprinting. So if you ever sprint, imagine sprinting for over a minute. And that's what you're trying to do. Like you're resting and then you're going to try to sprint for another minute. And then you rest a little bit. And so we were all doing like things like that, or just saying, we would see how high up we would jump, or see how we could do an aerial cartwheel, and the next person would try to surpass that and surpass that. So we were always really, really trying to one up each other and create like our own brand of, even though it's wushu, it's our own brand of martial art. And I think that really helped us in projects, having that creative mentality.
Absolutely. And it kept y'all young.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's because of the different backgrounds. We had Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Wushu as a background. And when you try to combine everything, I think that's what Danny means. You kind of create your own little style or your own little way of doing the martial arts itself. So I think combining all those helped us tremendously.
Absolutely. So Daniel, same thing. Kind of just run down your experience and what you're trained in, how long you've been doing it, stuff like that.
I started training judo in like 1969.
Oh wow!
When I was younger, and then just rising up through it. Even today, practicing. I need more naps because I am still like I teach. I teach out of a school, so that I still don't just stand around and teach. Like I try to do it with whoever I'm teaching. Doing a lot of private, so I try to do it with my clients or things like that, which makes me really, really tired.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I've
seen so much cool stuff on Instagram from you. It's so cool, so awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really fun, and it is an art because even we've gotten older and we still embrace it. We're still doing it, and we're still creating with it, and it goes on. It's a way of life.
Absolutely. So. Ho-Sung, what year did you actually start?
Well, I started heavily in, like 81. Okay. I started heavily. And I kind of had a background in it. My dad was a judo champion in Korea and Japan. So I think it kind of came natural to me. So with the help of the crew, I just happened to propel very fast. Like I felt like it was innate. And I was pretty athletic. I played football and baseball and so on in school. So I think coming from that, just as an athlete, I think it helped. And it helped that, like if you could jump high and if you could do movements a certain way, I think all those little things help quite a bit. So being an athlete and being able to, jump and so on. And gymnastics is something also Danny and I, we just touch upon a little bit. So that helps in terms of just pure movement. And then we started competing in 87 and 88 heavily thereafter. And then I actually stopped competing real fast. It was 1990, 91. After 1991, I stopped because I wanted to pursue the film industry. So it was more really a stepping stone into what I was able to do. And actually, that's probably the same year Danny and we did Mortal Kombat, right then?
Yeah.
Right around 1990?
Yep. We pitched it in 89. And, originally they, going back to Mortal Kombat, we pitched it in 89 and
we did in 91?
Yeah, and we did it in 91 because originally when we met, like myself, and John pitched it to Ed, and he said no to the game that they were going to do. He liked the idea, but they were going to do Tobias described it as a mainstream fighting game instead of our game with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So they actually said no to what we were going to do for about 8 months. And it's pretty funny because at the meeting, I mean, this group was so tight that at this meeting, I was like, we could get Ho-Sung to do it. And Ho-Sung I think you were filming something or at the
right.
Like that. I was like, when he gets back, he'll just do it. And I just spoke up for him. And then when he got back,
he was very confident.
Yeah. So he got back, he said, yeah. He's like, okay. He's like, will we have fun? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll do it.
But yes, I get that feeling. That like that Ho-Sung's pretty much down for whatever as long as it's a good time, right?
Yeah. I feel like the people that you take the journey with and the people you meet along the way is more important than I think anything else. So as long as I feel like, well, working with the crew, and I know that Danny, when he introduces me to people, he only introduces me to good people. So the fact that we're on a call right now, which I don't, by the way, I don't do many of these, just so you know. I don't do social media.
I appreciate it a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I don't do social media much. I don't do any of that stuff because I like my privacy because I'm in the film industry. So I think that in itself kind of takes away your privacy.
Yep.
But I appreciate the people that you meet along the way, and wonderful people, obviously. So when Danny asked me to do this, and I kind of shied away throughout these years about doing anything like this, just because I like my privacy, and this isn't really the forefront of the things I want to do. But when Danny sat down one day and convinced me, said, we'll have a good time, you'll meet wonderful people and so on. I said, you know what, I'm in. So Dan, as long as you're doing it, I'll be there with you, and we can enjoy the journey together. And that's why, we're talking with you right now.
Absolutely. And that speaks even more volumes to Daniel as well, for the kind of person he is too. Because honestly, I feel like we couldn't have talked to half the people, like a third of the people we've gotten to talk to, unless it was, organized by Daniel. So I appreciate you, Ho-Sung, for doing this with us. And Daniel, thank you for organizing things, man. This is incredible. It's awesome.
Gonna be really fun.
Yes, it is.
So speaking of which, how about your convention? Can you tell us something about it?
Absolutely. So we're making this the official 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. The original arcade cabinet. It's the actual day of October 8th was the day that it was released. So yes. So the first thing we're gonna do on Friday night, we're gonna have just a party. We're gonna have fun, kick back, meet a few people, and just have a good time. Daniel has already told me to bring an extra liver, so I need to make sure to throw it in the backpack.
Have it handy.
Exactly. Put it in the little meat cooler so I can swap it out real quick, just in case.
Sure.
But no, it's going to be a great time. Wichita is a nice area, especially that time of year. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's going to be just a nice, awesome party there. And then we have Saturday and Sunday where basically we're going to have panels, we're going to have vendors, tons of awesome people coming through. It's going to be a great time. Not only did we get you guys, but on top of the Mortal Kombat cast, we have Bowser coming. We have Peach and Toad are the same person. We have the lady who does the voice of Tails for Sonic the Hedgehog, the new movie.
Okay.
She's going to be there, and a bunch of people from a bunch of, it's excellent tier 1 talent coming through. It's going to be amazing.
That sounds wonderful.
It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We're excited. I've been involved for about 7-8 weeks, and I'm sitting here just like, come on, October. I am so excited for this. It's going to be a good time.
That's so great. I mean, it's wonderful to hear that the enthusiasm that you have behind this. That makes everything even better.
Yeah. No, I told Richard and I told John Parrish, I have thousands of hours beating the crap out of you guys. And
that's great.
And using you guys to beat up each other. I have played a lot of Mortal Kombat.
Are you a very good player in the game?
Not anymore. For 3, when Mortal Kombat 3,
yeah,
I was really good at 3. I memorized all the codes to put in for 3 and all that stuff. I played 1 and 2 quite a bit, but 3's when I really got into it. I played a lot of 3, but after probably 4, I stopped playing it as much. But I'd literally go back and play. I kept my Super Nintendo so I could play.
Well, I still think game 2 for me, I still think is the best game. The game itself, the characters look real. The movements are real movements, obviously, because we did them.
Yep.
And it's like 2 people fighting, right? Whereas I think now, which is still great, the movements are like hyper, crazy, right? In terms of what they do. Yeah. But in terms of like what actual movement does when you do fights, it's not really that. Yep. So still, to me, part 2 is the most realistic, fun, interesting game to this day. Yep. So yeah, that's my vote. MK2.
I absolutely agree. The only reason I played 3 as much as I did was because of the secret codes, so I could put in invincibility and just mess with them.
Right, right.
But no,
As the game moved on, they did more and more interesting things. Too bad they can't go back to part 2 and create those things.
yep.
Right, recreate all that stuff. That would be kind of cool.
See, I always thought about kind of combining the retro with the now, not necessarily Mortal Kombat, but what they've done with the UFC games,
Yes.
and bring it in kind of a little bit with the Mortal Kombat version of 2. They actually have, it's really funny, they have a Kumite mode in UFC 4 this year, where you actually fight in a roped arena. You can get the roped Muay Thai hands and everything, and you just fight in an arena, and you don't even like have grapple if you want to. You just kickbox. It's crazy.
Oh, okay.
And I think mixing that with the Mortal Kombat aspect would be sick.
Right. Yeah. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys up to now? Daniel, we'll start with you. What do you like? You said you were teaching, but what else are you doing?
Teaching started to, we're getting out of basically not out of COVID, but for the events we're out of COVID. So I'm fielding offers to, before we jump down, I was speaking with Hosung about another event that we'll be attending on the other side of the U.S. So that's starting to build up.
Yeah, it would be nice. I did say, Dan, one thing to Dan, if we just like, I believe Daniel goes to Brazil, Argentina, and other places like that. I was like, you know what? If you take those trips again, then I'll be by your side.
That's awesome.
I'll take those trips with you. So I think those are things that will journeys that we'll take together for MK 30th anniversary outside of your convention.
You outside of the official.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
The official day, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the unofficial official, but but this event should be pretty good because we're all getting back together. Right now we're just waiting to confirm. Liz,
she's the last one.
Yeah, she's the last one, and I told her even if you have just one day, even if you can come out Saturday, let's do it. She's gonna at least try to push for that, if not the whole weekend. So.
Fingers crossed. It'll be incredible because we have. I would say I've been telling people 85% of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and that's really close. I'm pretty sure we're really close to that.
Yeah, actually, for 1 and 2, we're really really close to that. Yeah, really.
If Liz comes, it's 100%. I'm going to social media, Twitter, whatever. 100%. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I'm happy to see how the franchise has expanded. And seeing people contribute to the characters that we, basically created the backbone for, and anybody who does like Scorpion does stuff that I created for Scorpion. So it's cool to see them add what they have to it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Hosung, what are you doing nowadays?
Filming, stunts and acting. In fact, so I hope this does not happen, but I am supposed to go to Korea for a project. So since I'm Korean, I really wanted to do some Korean projects. That would be, for me, that would be like a full circle. So I am supposed to this fall, in early fall, I think in September, supposed to August or September, right around that time period, go to Korea for 3 weeks for a project. So I'm just hoping that it does not overlap somehow. Like if they get delayed or something happens, it gets delayed in terms of missing your event. Other than Korea, I will be there. So that is probably my only caveat is a Korean. It's a Korean series. Korean series got popular because of Squid Games, but a lot of them have been very popular in Asia and other countries in Europe. And Korean series, Netflix, for example, is I think putting in $600 million into Korean series, crazy amount. I believe the second most amount outside of America. So America being the most amount of money they spend on series, and then it's Korea. Mm-hmm. So the Korean series asked me if I would come and be a part of their team, and I'm like, I can't turn that down. That is what I've been looking forward to it. So that's a project that I'm looking forward to. There's two projects actually. There's like a creature film and a robot type film.
Okay.
When I say robot film, like kind of like a Pacific Rim,
Okay.
that type of world. So I'll tell you more about it when I see you in October. I should have more updates on it. So in terms of, for me, it's filming, acting and stunts, and I enjoy both of it. Stunts because I can still do it. I think the day I feel like it's too painful and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore, will be a sad day, but it will come one day. And acting because I enjoy acting and I enjoy the process of filmmaking, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera. What's funny is I actually don't watch a lot of the films that I participate in, or projects that I produce. I enjoy the process of filmmaking. Film watching, 50-50. But the process of filmmaking, because it's like, for example, it'd be like coming to the convention and enjoying the time together. It's like you come in as a team and we like create something, right? We create this convention. And then once we go, a lot of times there'll be like behind the scenes, or there'll be something that you may put out that people could kind of re-enjoy and see something from the convention. Normally I don't watch those things, but I do enjoy the process of being together and making something happen.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking forward to being there. Yeah. It'll be one of my first conventions with Mortal Kombat ever. So I look forward to it. But that would be my only caveat, is if I'm filming in Korea. If I'm filming in America, it's okay. I'll still be there. Filming in Korea would be kind of hard.
Yeah, that's absolutely difficult. So
that's
do you think the reason you don't watch the finished product is maybe that you're just like hypercritical, be like, oh, I could have done that better or something like that? Or is it just like, no desire?
I think I used to be that way,
Okay.
but at a certain point, I think you say to yourself, whoever wants to watch it and have fun with it, enjoy it, and moviegoers or series goers or whatever, TV goers, oh, great, and they could watch it, enjoy it. I enjoy the process more, right? For example, like I said, I'll enjoy the process of going to the event and being with you guys and enjoying the moments together and the camaraderie that we form. And that's more important to me than sitting down and watching something. It's not as important. And I realize a lot of people are like, oh, no, you got to go to the movie and support. And I'm thankful and grateful that people do that. But it's just not my personality, right? I don't want to tell you something that is fake. So in general, I don't watch that many movies. Like if you talk about all the like Marvel films, I've probably seen like a quarter of them maybe, and most of the people see it. If you talk about the latest like Star Wars films and Star Wars things, I don't know if I've seen any of them.
Wow.
I just don't get around to it, and it's not my priority.
Yep.
But being there and being with the people and going on the journey together in your convention will be my priority.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like Ho-Sung's ready for this. Daniel, how excited are you to be in Wichita?
I am actually excited. I did a previous event there, so there's a lot of relationships that I made, and a lot of people are coming out again for that. So it's going to be a lot of people, especially, if you listen to this podcast interview, remember the VIP for Friday night is almost all gone. So jump on it. Otherwise you're going to miss it, man.
You're going to miss
that
me
sounds
ripping
fun.
out my own liver.
Yeah.
No, I am excited. I have talked to a lot of people involved in this project, and all of it sounds like you guys were just a bunch of people who did martial arts together and got to work together and make something beautiful. And I think you guys had a lot of fun getting to do that. So I gotta know.
Absolutely.
I gotta know. Give me a funny story about Richard right now, on the spot right now. I know y'all got one. Give me a really good story about Richard so I can play this back and be like, boom.
Actually, for me, a really funny story about Richard, and Ho-Sung's going to laugh at this. So we're at Andrew, who drew the first Mortal Kombat comic book. His father recently passed away, and we're there with him. And there's there's a famous DJ, Jesse De La Pena, who in the Midwest and for DJ is really, really famous. And he's part of our group too. And he comes up to me and he's like, where's Rich? And I was like, Rich is not here. And he goes, Rich, I go, you know, he didn't show up because he is like, he doesn't want to like just break down and cry and be like all emotional over losing it. But he's like, Rich is, he goes, and somebody's, Rich is not coming. And he's like, and then he mentioned, he's not coming. Why didn't he just go? And Rich was by a car lot and he saw all these cars. And he's like, why can't they just give me a car? They have a lot of cars out there. Why can't they just give me a car? And then I'd have a car and they wouldn't miss it. And then I would be able to ride everywhere and do this. And they're like, Rich, they do it for profit. He goes, yeah, but they have so many, they would never miss it. So I understand. He said, I don't understand why. And he really didn't understand why they wouldn't just give him a car. Remember that, Osung? So,
you know, that is that
years later, over 30, because this is before Mortal Kombat. So that story came up at this gathering that we were doing. That's a funny story about Richard, but
but no, that's funny because that is Richard. Like he doesn't understand why like certain things aren't certain way. What you're like, but that's the way it should be. No. But there's so many of them. I should have some. No, Rich, you gotta go buy it.
See, I love
That's
Richard getting to talk to him, and that story lines up so perfectly.
Yeah.
Richard has this awesome world in his head. It's amazing. It's awesome. I want to be there. I want to live there.
Exactly. It's great that he lives in his own world, which is wonderful.
Yep. That's why I asked that specific question, because I already know y'all loaded up with stories about Richard. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, we love the guy, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But he was funny.
Yeah, he's real funny. He's real funny.
We all have our quirks,
Exactly. So we have about 7 minutes left. Ho-sung, tell me your favorite thing about making Mortal Kombat.
Gosh, the favorite thing. You know what was interesting is, so when Danny asked me, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. And with John and Ed. So we got all in the room and we try to do different things. And Daniel's like, oh, let's try to do, they'll try to do this punch or that punch, or let's try to do this type of kick. And then I'm just thinking to myself, no, let's do some of the crazy stuff, like the butterfly twist. Let's do, like the jumping inside crescent kick. But we weren't able to do some of the crazy things that we wanted to do. I think that would add much more into the game, because the game back then just did not have the bandwidth, the memory to be able to do the things that we want to do. So here I am throwing all these like crazy things, and like none of them got in there. So imagine how cool it'd be if we did have the memory and we're able to throw everything that we had into the game. It would be much, it's awesome as it is, but it would be just so much greater.
Game designers, that's the man to call. Get all the crazy moves in real quick.
Right. That's right.
Daniel, same question. What's your favorite thing about being a part of Mortal Kombat?
I think in general is the creation from it. Like people, you talk about, all the people who created it, but it was, when I look back at it, in my opinion, it was inspiration through movement. Like nothing, because the company really didn't, or John really didn't have like an outline of it. He wasn't like, oh, do this or that. We were just doing, Sung can agree. We were just doing whatever we wanted and be like, oh, how about if we do this? How about if we do that? And then he'd be like writing stuff down, especially at the very beginning, he was just writing stuff down to when he would see Ed, to ask Ed, hey, is this possible if we can do this or that? Because it was really just all through the movement of the game and us just trying to do different things. So, and trying to overcome things that a low budget game had. We're using John's dad's camera to film.
Wow.
It wasn't even, and we're doing stuff like, and at the beginning it was like, jump up, don't jump up so high, jump lower, but hold your feet up. And then, how float, so, after hundreds of jumps, I was finally like, can I sit on something and I'll fake jump, because I still wanted us to have that when you do some jump, there's something to that. you know, as opposed to if you're standing and then all of a sudden you're standing on it, sitting on something, and then you just land. There's something missing in that feeling. So I was like, can we, you know, do stuff like this? And he was like, yeah, we could try to do that. So just figuring all that stuff out of how to make the game was really, really, really cool. You know, as
right. The process of figuring it out. Now I wasn't as involved with that as Danny and John and Ed. They were the three, obviously, that were that made the game what it is. But I had a small role in that. And you're right, discovering the movements in the game itself, I think, was a really incredible part of the game. And obviously, seeing it live for the first time out there and playing the game, that in itself is a very surreal experience. It's the first time I believe it's ever been done, right, with real people in a video game. So that in itself was a very surreal experience.
Yeah, it was like when I was like recently I watched like stuff. I bring stuff up to post. So I'm watching Ho-Sung do one movement. He does it like maybe a dozen times, and then all of a sudden he's adding to it. So literally he's doing one movement 100 times, trying to look at what he's doing and then tweak it to be like how he wanted to do it, so it wouldn't look like, because too, you know, when you do a spin hook kick, everybody generally does the same, but he's trying to figure out how to make his look different, so much different than the other performers, other characters of the game. So it was like,
I think the little subtle things like that is what makes the game interesting, right? It's not generic moves, it's movements that are like innate to the character, right? Which makes, I think, the game itself. So I think that process itself was fun and interesting for us, along with help promoting the game. Dan, do you remember when we went to like England to help promote the game when it came out on video, the Nintendo and the Sega? Yeah, so the process of making the game, loved it. Process of also promoting the game, really had a wonderful time. And the process of what we'll do with you, help talk to the fans and talk about the game itself again 30 years later, I think will also be a wonderful process.
Absolutely. I remember John Parrish, I talked to him, he talked about having to backflip slower, trying to get in there. So absolutely. That's right. I'm glad he wasn't the only one struggling.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Those are, and you're kind of looking at them like, what? You know, we were, you know, and then we're trying to find different ways, you know, athletic enough to try to find a way to make it work.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, that's our time. Thank you so much for doing this, Ho-Sung and Daniel. Thank you so much. I am beyond stoked to be talking to you guys, and I can't wait to shake you guys' hands. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be absolutely incredible.
That would be wonderful. Yeah.
So
it'll be a great time. Everyone show up, please.
Absolutely. Everybody come, because like he said, this is the first couple he's ever done. So definitely show up. But thanks again, guys. I will catch you guys later.
All right, take care.